Welcome back here today on the beautiful campus of Florida Panhandle Technical College. Another in our series of what's going on in the community. We've got a treat today. We've got Miss Haylee Patton, who is currently our distinguished young woman from Washington County. If you're a regular viewer of the show, you've certainly seen interviews with other DYWs or distinguished young women, in this case from Washington County. Every county in the United States that wants to participate has exactly that, has a young lady every year crowned as that distinguished young woman based on lots of different criteria. Many of those we'll discuss when we come back with Haylee. But suffice it to say, this is not a typical pageant. This is based on academics. It's based on soft skills. It's based on the ability to communicate. And anyone who receives this title in any of those counties certainly deserves the title by the time they get through the process. When we come back, we're going to talk to Haylee about her experiences over the last year. She's actually only a little more than halfway through her year, but Haylee is a good example of the kind of youth that we want to see more, and you certainly should in whatever your respective county is. When we come back, we're going to talk to Haylee about all this and more, and we will be right back. Welcome back. As mentioned, our guest today is Haylee Patton, currently the DYW. That's not DUI. That's Distinguished Young Woman of Washington County. First of all, thanks for taking the time today. I know you had school today.
Yes, I did.
So it's really a chore to have to get off of school and come to our studio. I know.
Oh, yes. You have no idea.
Distinguished Young Woman of Washington County. Talk a little bit about what is DYW.
Okay, well, DYW, it used to be called Junior Miss, but they changed the name to Distinguished Young Woman because it gave off the idea of it being a pageant. And this is not a pageant, this is a scholarship program. And they don't judge us on things that they do in pageants like beauty or our actual opinions. They judge us on our grace and our poise and how we carry ourselves, confidence levels, things of that nature. But we compete in 5 different categories that we're judged in. 25% of that is scholastic, so self-explanatory, your ACT score, SAT score, grades, things like that. The next 25% is your interview, which is a private time where you have 10 minutes with 5 judges and they can ask you any question of their choosing, from who you are as a person or current event questions and how we feel about that. And 20% of our score is a self-expression question, which is an on-stage question. We walk up, we have 30 seconds to answer a question. Step back, smile.
30 seconds?
Yes, 30 seconds.
So the
they have a buzzer
on.
And everything.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah. And then the next 15% of our score is talent. Self-explanatory, you go up and do your thing. For me, mine is singing. So I sang the song I'm Still Standing by Elton John, because who doesn't love Elton John? And then the next 15% is everyone's favorite part, the fitness routine, which, funny story, I went into this thinking, fitness routine, Zumba, no problem. I can do Zumba. This is not Zumba at all. This is, hardcore workouts, push-ups, crunches, high knees, all that kind of stuff to the beat of a song.
So they determine what that physical regimen is going to be? They give you the script, if you would, or
the routine, yeah. They send us the routine. Well, for local, they taught us the routine over the summer before the program. When I moved forward to state, they sent us videos, and we had to learn it on our own.
Wow. So quite a rigorous process.
Yes.
How many people competed? Now, when the original Angela Haar is the one with her daughter, Robin, who basically brought DYW to Washington County. As a matter of fact, I think Robin actually competed as an open entrant to another county's event. Are we now to the point, Haylee, where we have our own Washington County DYW, or do you compete in another area?
No, we are at the point where we're our own competition for Washington County. For my local competition, it's the biggest competition we've ever had. And girls from Vernon and from from Chipley came together, and we all competed together as a group. We don't have to do an open with other counties. Which
is good. So that means you're growing.
Exactly.
How many were in that pool, roughly, when you competed?
There were 8 of us.
Okay. So fairly long day. Is this all done in a single day?
Yes. The entire competition's done in a day. We go and do our interviews first that afternoon. and each of us take 10 minutes, so we have to sit around and wait and, you know, bite our fingernails, wait till the next one to come out before we go in for our interview. Then after
Now, do you
that,
get to talk to somebody who just had their interview, or
No.
do they, so that you don't get any insight from
Exactly.
anybody?
We're all in a completely separate room. They go do their interview, then they come out, and we don't see them at all until we have finished our interview.
Okay.
But the actual competition itself would start in the evening, and then we would do all of the on-stage performances.
As you pointed out, there's a performance segment, and you're a pretty talented singer and guitar player.
Yes, sir.
So you went into that probably pretty confident.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. What about the fitness part of it? Did you go into that with some confidence, or were you concerned about that?
No. I am not the most physically fit person in the world, but I went into it with the thought of, if I just go in and look like I'm having a good time and I have energy, that's all that matters to them.
Well, absolutely. It's almost acting.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, that was part of the struggle that I had when I went to state, because a lot of these girls were physically fit. They were dancers, and they worked out on a daily basis, whereas I did not. I'm a singer. I don't necessarily
Sure.
have to work out on a daily basis.
Sure.
But my Tay Creamer, she was a distinguished young woman 2 years ago. She helped me with my dance moves and all that kind of stuff.
And she is a dancer.
She is a dancer, yes. And she told me from the very beginning, Haylee, if you go in and you look like you're having fun, and if you have energy, sharp movements, then that's all that matters to them. Smile and enjoy yourself.
I first met Taya at Washington Rehab and Nursing Center when we were doing a music video. The nursing home let all of their residents participate in this music video, and we did. I'll think of it in a second here, what the song and artist is, because it's not something I ordinarily would necessarily listen to. But it was a rock and roll song, and part of her deal was dancing in one of the hallways.
Yes.
And she really was quite talented.
Oh,
I mean,
she's
she was
so good.
She was doing all kinds of stuff.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, we're still trying to get her in for an interview, because for some reason the year that she served as DYW, things were just crazy, and she was out of town. And in any case, she is also very talented. In your case, you had all of those. Now, the soft skill part, I imagine you probably nailed that one as well, going in, doing the interview, because that is, you're a preacher's daughter.
Yes.
You probably don't get cut a lot of slack on a daily basis.
No. Yes, it went really well. I have to say, I trained really hard to answer current event questions and even questions about my family and my bio sheet that we had to fill out at the beginning of the season. But one of the judges, my very last question, I was doing so good. And the very last question, he had asked me, what's one thing I can remember you by? And I was, and you
Wow.
never say in an interview, but I'm pretty positive like 75% of my answer was me going, the entire time. I think I gave some answer about I sing in the shower with my dry shampoo bottle. I think ended up being the answer I gave. But that question, I actually got asked that question again at state by a completely different judge. They had never met.
Were you better prepared for it the second time?
Oh, yeah. I gave an answer. They worded it differently, but they asked me what's a defining characteristic in me. And I said that my faith is something that I feel like is a defining characteristic in me. That's what I want to do for the rest of my life, going into worship leadership in Mobile, and that's a very big part of me, and I hope that's something that defines me.
I'm Still Standing. That's a tough song.
Oh, yeah.
There's a wide range in that vocal. That's Elton John. I mean, he's got a huge range.
Yes, sir.
So that was not an easy one. I mean, probably you could have done the a cappella Star Spangled or National Anthem, and only that would have been any worse. Because, I mean, do you agree that that's a rough song?
It was a little bit, because he jumps from low parts to high parts, but
Yeah.
I'd wanted to pick a song that was challenging but wasn't too challenging that I couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
Something that did exemplify my voice.
Yeah, and that certainly gave the range.
Yes.
Interesting. Wow, learning more about that. I've never heard that before. Now, today, you've accepted our invitation to come speak to our Chipley Kiwanis Club.
Yes.
Angela Haar, who is the director of Distinguished Young Women of Washington County, is going to join you there at lunch. She was going to try to be here for the interview and was not able to make it. Talk a little bit about Angela and what she has done with that program, and maybe how she's affected you personally.
Oh, Miss Angela is an incredible person. I love her to death. I've known her way before this program even was started, but she has really worked hard to instill in us girls that we are capable of anything that we set our minds to. if we work hard and we're dedicated, we're capable of anything we want to do. And that personally has been a very big thing to me. But she has taught us a lot about being confident and projecting our voice and sitting up with pretty feet. Ask her about pretty feet. She will tell you all about pretty feet. You will never forget that if you are a distinguished young woman. But she is an incredible woman, and she's like another mom to me. I'm so very thankful for Miss Angela.
You, not long after winning the title, came here with your mom and dad.
Yes.
And we did some headshots for you.
Yes.
We shot, so when I told you to meet us here at what time today, I knew that you knew where the studio was. However, we've been talking for the last year as well, and as a matter of fact, I mentioned it to your dad, who happens to be the preacher of our church,
yes.
That we want to get you into the studio. So hopefully, I know you're going to be going to camp this summer. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but sometime prior to you leaving, perhaps we can get you in here and record a few songs. I would still love to do that.
I'd love to, yes, yes.
Now, you mentioned in the pre-show, we got a chance to chat a little while before we started recording, you mentioned that you are going to be a camp counselor, for lack of a better term. Talk about what that's going to be all about.
Okay, well, I will be a full-time staff member this summer at Camp Crosspoint, which is a small little camp in Pelham, Georgia. But this camp runs off the idea of building each other up as Christians. And so they kind of run camp like the way camp used to be, is what my mom likes to say, but campfires and team building activities and things like that. And I had the opportunity to get to instill in children and other youth what it means to build each other up as Christians. I will also be worship leader, and so I will have the opportunity to sing again this summer.
Sing and play.
Sing and play, yes. I will probably be playing guitar or keyboard, whichever. I will also have the opportunity to teach students how to play guitar or piano or how to sing. There's also a staff skit that I will get to be a part of. There's just so many different opportunities for me this summer, and I'm so beyond excited about it.
Why didn't I know that you played piano or keyboards?
Oh, I've been taking piano since like second grade, and Miss Lydia is actually has been teaching me piano for a while, but I do a little bit of piano, also keyboard and chord and things like that.
I guess for the most part, I see you at church and you're playing guitar.
I'm always on guitar.
Because somebody else may be playing keys, or if there are even keys in that song, but I was unaware of that. Well, we've got a piano here, we've got keys, so in addition to maybe doing some guitar songs, you'll have the opportunity maybe to do that. I'm excited about getting you back in here.
Yeah,
I really am.
Me too.
We have had the opportunity to work, as I mentioned at the start, with several of the distinguished young women. It's a great program, and what really got our attention was the fact that it was not a pageant.
Yes.
I wrote an article back a couple weeks ago, I think it was, in one of the local publications. It was sort of tongue-in-cheek, but it was sort of taking a swipe at the fact that we can never have enough pageants, and whether you want to, you're going to be carrying the crown for the local fruit or produce or the marsupial in the case of the Possum Festival. There are just way too many, and they seem to focus on all the wrong things as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
Where it most concerns me is that there are a lot of young girls who would love to be up there, but it's sort of costly. And there's nothing cheap when you start getting into the bigger pageants, especially. You can spend thousands of dollars between dress and all of the rest of it, not to mention travel, and if you have to stay overnight out of town. So when Angela Haar first came to us to talk about DYW, and this was when her daughter Robin was involved, it really got our attention. And so you guys are judged on what I consider the right things. During the summer, and actually just recently during the regular school year, we have a STEM program here for the middle school STEM kids. We had 240 STEM students from Vernon Middle School and Rolac Middle School come through here 4 or 5 weeks ago. And when they come to campus, they get to go to robot camp or to see the drones or to work on underwater robotics or to do some of the electrical. When they come here, we work on the soft skills. So we get in front of the green screen and we get them to interview each other, and they learn how to do an effective interview.
Yes.
And so those things are near and dear to my heart because so often we'll have somebody who's extremely intelligent or a good athlete or good looking. They're winning crowns or adulation for those things, but at the end of the day, they're not a well-rounded person. From what I know about DYW to this point anyway, it not only fosters those young ladies wanting to be that title holder, but the criteria are exactly those things which make for a well-rounded person. You mentioned some of them.
Yes, sir.
At the end of the day, I would imagine there have been DYWs crowned elsewhere, if not in Washington County, who weren't necessarily that athletic or not necessarily that talented or not necessarily the top of their class. You don't have to be the valedictorian. What they are looking for is that total package.
Exactly.
Is that true?
Oh, for sure. I mean, like I said earlier, I am not the most physically fit person out there, and I think the only sport I've ever played was soccer in elementary school. But yet I won Distinguished Young Woman for my county. Now, no, I didn't place in the fitness, but I won scholastics. My grades were good, and I won self-expression, the onstage question. I also won talent. I didn't win interview, but I did go in there and I did my best, and same thing with fitness. I went in there and I did my best whether I won or not.
So there are winners in each of those categories.
Yes.
And then the overall aggregate winner is the one who comes away with the title.
Yes, each individual category has a winner, but they also win a portion of the scholarship money.
Okay.
Yes.
So there's more. So the awards are more than one deep.
Oh, exactly. Everyone in that program walked away with something, which was fantastic. But there were honorees for each category. So I won scholastics, and then one other girl won an honoree position, and so did another one, and so on for each other category. And then we had a spirit award where the girl who had the best attitude throughout the entire program, who exemplified what it meant to be Distinguished Young Woman in our eyes, won a scholarship as well. And we actually had a tie for that. And so 2 girls were able to win that money, and that was incredible. I was super excited for the both of them. But I did not win fitness, and I did not win an interview, but this program definitely embodies what it means to be a well-rounded young woman in our community.
In a normal pageant where totally different from this kind of a contest, that queen or king or whatever the title happens to be in that respective contest, they have to participate in all of the local festivals and events and parades. They have to represent their crown, their title, for that next calendar year. Is DYW that way?
Oh, for sure, for sure. I love riding in parades, and I've had the opportunity to ride in both Chipley's Homecoming Parade and Vernon's Homecoming Parade since I am for Washington County. I get to ride in everything Washington County, but I also get to participate in things like this, sitting down and having conversations with people and going to the Kiwanis Club after this and getting to really inspire these people and showing them what it means to be a distinguished young woman. But I feel like for other pageants, they go around and yes, they wear their crown and all that kind of stuff. But when I do these parades and these events and things like that, I want to inspire people. And I want people to see in me what it means to be the distinguished young woman. And that's more important to me than riding in parades and waving and looking pretty, which, don't get me wrong, it's so fun.
Well, and that stuff really is on more the promotional side.
Yes.
It makes people aware of the fact that the competition is even there. And I think that's the important, because if you won the crown or won the title, got the cash award, got the scholarship or whatever, and then you never did anything else until the next year's contest, there would be never any renewed interest or new interest.
Exactly.
Now, in a regular pageant, it gets pretty pricey.
It does.
I know that our Kiwanis Club contributes toward DYW of Washington County.
And we appreciate it.
Well, but that goes towards scholarships.
Yes, it does.
And whatever else. You as a contestant, were there expenses that you underwent because of the competition?
Yeah, there were a few. I did have to purchase a dress for self-expression. Actually, I had to purchase an outfit for everything. I did need an interview suit, but Miss Angela did emphasize to us to spend as little amount of money as possible. Like my self-expression dress for local, I think I spent $12 on at Ross. I mean, it was super cheap, but it looked great and it fit all the criteria necessary. But yes, there are a few expenses, but nothing compared to what other pageants are like. And
under the right circumstances, you may have a competitor that already has the stuff that is
exactly.
applicable for that use. Mm-hmm. My point is that you don't have to spend a lot of money.
Exactly.
Is there an entry fee?
No, there is no entry fee. To sign up, you don't have to pay a dime.
So what are the criteria for being a contestant? Just that you want to?
Exactly, yeah, just that you want to. There's an application that you do have to fill out, but it's more of well, tell us a little bit about you so that we can use that when it comes to time to do interviews and they can ask you questions. And there is no, well, you have to do this and you have to do that. It's just, if you want to do it, please come do it.
So you say now we have our own bona fide DYW of Washington County, our own, now do we call it a pageant or a competition or what
Program.
do we have? Program. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we've got our own program. You had 8 contestants last time. Do you anticipate this growing, and what do some of the other counties have in the way of numbers of contestants? Do you have any idea?
Well, actually, my best friend competed in her Distinguished Young Woman. She lives in Alabama, in Butler County, and I got to go watch her program before mine. And, I mean, they had 13, 14 girls up there. But it's also a very big deal in Alabama. Distinguished Young Woman was started in Alabama, so it's a big deal there. But I really hope and I really see it continuing to grow here for Washington County. I've done my best to try and recruit some junior girls that may be interested or that would really, I feel like, would do very, very well in this program.
I know right now a lot of our viewers are watching this. They may
Yes.
be a young lady, they may be parents or grandparents, say, hey, our granddaughter or our daughter would be perfect for that. What are the age constraints?
Well, you must be a junior girl that will be graduating in the class of 2019. But besides that, that is really the only thing necessary. That's the only age limit. Now, there are some girls who have met all of the criteria necessary to graduate a year early, and those girls are also more than welcome to come as well.
A lot of homeschooled or
Yes,
Christian school where they're way
yes.
ahead of the curve sometimes.
Yes.
Even have skipped grades in some cases.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So when you say 2019, going into the next competition,
Yes.
that would be their criteria. You must be a junior girl going to graduate in 2019 as part of that class of 2019. At that point, though, you don't have to submit any kind of proof of your scholastic or athletic abilities or your talents or anything. You can enter that competition and then take on those challenges on that day of the competition?
Well, as far as scholastic, everything else is true, yes, but as scholastics go, when you submit your application and all that, you do have to turn in your transcripts and your ACT scores and SAT scores, but those are for scoring. Those don't allow you to either be in or not be in the competition.
Okay. But chances are, if you're an underachiever and you're not doing very well, you possibly won't do well in the competition. Would that be correct, or am I wrong?
Well, that is a lot of the scoring does come from scholastics, but interview is just as equal as scholastics. Like I said, I did not win interview, but I did win scholastics, and I ended up winning the overall program. So yes, it is important to have good grades and to do well in the testing and things like that, but if you're just really good at talking to people and creating on conversations and have a great personality, you could do really well in interview and maybe do well in self-expression with your on-stage question, and you still would have a good chance.
Because the outcome for which you are looking as a contestant is that scholarship,
Yes.
one would presume that you would be looking to go on to further education post-secondary.
Yes.
So whether you're going to a technical college, such as we find ourselves today,
Yes.
if you're going to FSU or University of Florida or any four-year college, or even if you're going to a junior college or you're going to a trade school or a technical school, those are all fair game, right? That those scholarships can be applied to whatever school you're going to.
Exactly, yes. You do win a cash scholarship. Like when I won over $1,000 in cash scholarship. But I also had the opportunity, say, Troy University. That seems to be where a lot of people around here in Chipley and Vernon like
Sure.
to go to school there. But if you have the right ACT scores, Troy will offer an even larger scholarship opportunity for Distinguished Young Women in Florida, as well as for Distinguished Young Women in Alabama.
If, again, somebody's watching right now and they're interested in learning more, because we can always use more contributors to the
Yes.
program, just as our
Yes.
Kiwanis Club is a benefactor. I think it's important to let fraternal organizations, and that's what you're doing today. You're talking to our Kiwanis Club and you're telling them what their money got them.
Yes.
And we like that. We like the fact that because we contribute, we like to see the result of that. And you're certainly a good example of the outcome of that
Thank you.
of that program. Well, it's true. So if you're a Lion in a Lions Club, or if you're part of a
Yes.
Rotary Club, if you're a Women's Club, it doesn't matter, even if you're just a private citizen. Now, if somebody is watching and they're part of an organization, or just say, you know what, that's something I would like to contribute to, how could they find out more?
Well, as we were talking about Miss Angela Hart earlier, she is my director, and she is incredible and is very good about keeping in touch. So if you would contact her through Facebook or text message, phone call, email, she does all of that. If you would contact her, we would greatly appreciate your contribution.
And her phone number is on the screen right now.
Yes.
So if somebody wants to contact, that's Miss Angela Har. They can. You actually have a website, don't you?
Yes, it's www.distinguisheddyw.org. It's either org or com. I'm pretty sure it's .org.
Okay, we're going to verify that. And again,
Yeah.
that's on the screen right now as
Yes.
well. And then, as you say, you have a Facebook page.
Yes.
And we're in the business of creating websites and doing all kinds of marketing stuff, but we feel that in this day and time, websites are not as important as they used to be. And many times, if you're an organization such as yours, you can really just make do with your Facebook page.
Yes.
That said, you're going to be easily able to access the most current content, but if you want to go back 2, 3, 4 DYW recipients in the past, probably the website's going to be the best place because I'm sure you've got some kind of a hall of fame there where you've got all of these women listed.
Our Facebook page actually has that as well. Our Facebook page, we started that back when Robin won our very first Washington County. And you can scroll down, I actually did that a while back, but you can scroll down and see all of our distinguished young women and what all we've done, not just at local, but also at state. When we go off and compete at state, she posts pictures all the time that week that we're gone, and you definitely can go back and look through all of the other distinguished young women's activities as well.
We had the opportunity to do an interview with Robin. We actually did it at the gazebo at the old train station.
Yes, I watched it. Oh, I love her.
Yeah, and that's been 4 years?
4 years. Mm-hmm.
So, Taya Creamer, Robin, yourself, and who else?
Laurel Grace Henson.
Yes, of course. Actually, we did an interview with Laurel Grace, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
And I think they came to Kiwanis. I'm almost positive, and I'd have to go back and check. But yes, all from good families, all representative of the youth that we want to see here in Washington County. Is there anything I may have forgotten to talk about? Anything that you want to add?
I do want to say, for any of you junior girls that are watching that, are maybe even a little bit thinking about doing this, I would seriously consider signing up for this program. Distinguished Young Woman was not on my radar back when, I signed up after the deadline for this program, and look at where I am now. But it was not on my radar, and I had not even thought about it. But Laurel Grace, the winner of last year, had talked to me and really showed me that I had a chance and that I really could do well in this program. So I signed up, and I would not change it for anything. Not just for the scholarship money, but I had made lifelong friendships, both at the local program here and at the state program that I went on to. I would not change being a part of this program for anything. So please, please, please consider signing up if you're even the slightest bit interested.
Well said. That website, the telephone number for Angela Haar on the screen right now. Thank you so much for taking the time. I hate to rip you away from classes on a Tuesday morning like this. How's school going for you right now?
It's good. It's good. I actually have a very lax semester right now. I was working really hard taking college classes last semester, but with everything going on, especially with State for Distinguished Young Women, and we're doing our big spring production of High School Musical. I'm Gabriella, so y'all should come see it. But
what is it?
High School Musical.
Okay.
Yes. So I've decided to take this semester off and just take some easy classes. But it's going good.
Well, best of luck going forward. Have fun at your camp this summer.
Yes, thank you.
You'll be back in time for the Possum Festival.
I will.
That may be one of the last events. When do you actually go out as representative of DYW?
It's sometime in the end of August. I'm not entirely sure what the date is
Okay, so it's
yet.
before homecoming and all that,
Yes,
obviously.
it is.
It's before school goes back in? Or
No, it will
right
be after school, right after school goes back in.
Okay. Thanks again for taking the time.
Of course, thank you. I appreciate it.
Our guest today is no stranger to most people watching right now. Distinguished Young Women of Washington County, an organization that builds confidence, builds character, more importantly, highlights that which we are most proud of in our county, young people doing well. I guess there's no more to say. Haylee Patton, currently our Distinguished Young Woman from Washington County. If you want more information, that contact information is on the screen, and we'll be right back.